Well, folks, it is going to absolutely chuck it down in the next couple of hours, so we really haven't got long. You're joining me today down here on the Rochdale Canal, and we're going to be having a bit of fun. We're going to be testing out these little micro lures that I've got off AliExpress. So I've got a few different kinds. I'm going to rig them up in a weedless style. Now, this little stretch of canal is very, very tough. I've never caught on it, so I don't even know why I'm down here. Look, it's local to my house, but I just want to find where the fish are here, and I think with this really refined micro setup, it's going to give us our best chance of finding out where the fish are, maybe get a couple of little perch on the bank. I'm not bothered what we catch, as long as we're catching. So like I said, I've rigged these up in a weedless style. Try not to drop anything in the canal, but I've got these attached to little cheb weights. So this one's a 2 gram, but I have got some 1 gram with me as well on a very, very small weedless hook, because you can see how tiny those lures are, but they've got loads of movement. I've got a few different types, a few different colors. So yeah, we're just going to have a bit of fun and see if we manage to catch anything. I've started the Chorus Nomad watch going, so I can track my route like I've been doing, and then I'll show you that at the end of the video. I'm not sure if I'm going to catch anything, but let's see. Let's get into it. Let's have a bit of fun before this rain comes in. This looks like a promising little spot. Just met a young lad then. He's after a pike. See if I can get back towards the far edge. And I might put a slightly heavier jig head on, to be honest. I've one more cast down here in the sluice gate. Must be some little perch down there. So we'll try a good few casts down here, because if there's going to be silvers, small perch and stuff like that about, then this is the kind of place that they'll be. I have seen silvers in this little stretch before. I need to be letting this sink for a little bit longer, I reckon. Ah, we're snagged. Well, first one down. Let's try a 2 gram and an orange. And we'll tie it directly this time, because I've got a feeling that's not the last lure that we're going to lose today. Might be just a little bit more subtle as well, this, without the quick chains clip on. That's why I tied on a nice long leader, but it shows you how strong the leader knot is, because that did not break first. There we go, so that one's 2 gram instead of 1 gram. and it's got twin tails, this lure, so I'm hoping it's going to give us a little bit more movement. There we go, right in the overflow. You would really think that there'd be perch here, well oxygenated water, right next to a sluice gate. Try another spot. I was going to cast here on this side of the sluice gate, but I think this side's probably going to be better with the water coming in, because that'll stir up and oxygenate the water on this side. So let's drop it down slowly and we'll kind of work it in a jigging action. Pretty deep there, folks. So let's just jig it. Come on, folks, you're not telling me there's no perch in this canal. I've never seen any perch in this canal. I've seen jackpike and I have seen silvers. Let's change the colour, see if it's the colour. I think white's probably going to be our best option. And this little tiny weedless hook is working perfectly. The lure's staying on, it's not slipping. So the setup is working great. So let's put one of these little white UV on. And that's just going to give a little tail flicking action. Just practice and patience, that's all it is, folks. And knowing where the fish are, which is something that I definitely don't know on this canal. Right, let's try some foliage. As you can probably tell, I'm only really targeting structure today. So what I mean by structure is anything like this where I think the fish might be hanging out. Like that sluice gate, there should have been fish there, realistically. If this was a lovely, clean southern canal, then I'm sure that perch would have been there. But yeah, really tough little stretch. I'm sure people will confirm it in the comments. But there's a nice amount of water back in the canal now, so you'd have thought the fishing would improve. And I'm working these lures really slowly. Anything like those overhanging bushes, bridges, that kind of thing is what you're looking for perch and silvers. And I will be cycling through these three colours that I've got today quite frequently, just because I want to find the best colours. I thought when I set out, these orange ones are probably going to be the best. They've got the most movement. These are tiny, so they might be just a little bit too small. And obviously we've got the green ones. The difference between one of those 2 gram cheb weights and one of the 1 gram cheb weights isn't much, but the 1 gram, it was just sinking too slowly, I think, personally. And I do want it to get down to the bottom, and I kind of want to just bounce it back along the bottom. That's what I'm trying to do. Let's try this bridge. I think a lot of fish probably did die off through the droughts, because this canal was near enough empty. At one stage I come for a walk down here and yeah, it was just pretty devoid of water, to be quite honest. So it was a tough canal before that, so God knows what it's like now, but we've got to give it a go. 10 minutes from my house. I don't want to be driving ages every time I want to do a bit of lure fishing, you know what I mean? But it might be the spot for jack pikes, not necessarily for micro lure fishing. It's got a great little swimming action, this lure. There we go. Right through that tree, that's what we want. That'll do us. Let's let it sink. And we'll just flick it back. You see, these quarter turns on the reel kind of just give it a nice flicking action. Every now and again, just let it stop. Obviously, with it being a very small cheb weight and a micro lure, I'm not really picking up much weed, which is great. And it is weedy. One more cast here under this tree. Let's go cast, folks. Just let it sit there. Try and get the side on. Got a bit of a wind knot in the line there. I'll have to sort that out in a bit. I think it'll be fine for now. Would be much easier to work this micro lure with a longer rod, but I'm using what I've got. So this is my Savage Gear SG2 6 foot 1 to 3.5 gram. This is my trout setup, but when you're working these micro lures in a finesse setup, then something longer really helps. Shit. Snagged again, folks. Let's get somewhere and sort this out. Slight change of tact. Rather than the weedless, let's try a tiny little 1 gram jig head instead on a small hook. Right, folks, let's get back to it because we are running out of time. Let's get an orange back on. I'm hoping that I don't get absolutely obliterated by leaves. So I'm constantly on the lookout for fish of any variety. Plenty of people lure fish down here. There's loads of lures in the far trees and stuff. There's a fella down there fishing actually. Not seen a single fish moving about. I can see the bottom on this stretch. It's a little bit clearer on this little section of canal. Not seen a single silver. Not seen a jack pike sat in the margin. Nothing. The canal's in a pretty bad state of affairs in it. To be honest with you, it has been for the last few years. It makes me realise how nice that stretch at Chorley is on the Leeds Liverpool there. It's not as bad as this. At least you can see silvers moving about, you know, and you've got an idea that there's healthy fish populations, because obviously if there's healthy fish populations then the predators will be there. Now there's definitely still fish in here, because I've seen multiple people fishing down on this stretch today, and they say they have caught stuff, but it's not often. But you'd have thought fishing on this little micro setup would just give you your best chance of anything. If I've ever seen anything in this canal, mostly it's been jack pike. I've never seen anything bigger, but then again, I don't come down here enough to look at it. So I'm going to go as far as I can up this way until the canal turns into somebody else's stretch. If I had a pike rod with me, this would be the place for it for sure. Creepy little section. I'll tell you what I will say about lure fishing is it's a very good way of exploring sections of canals and rivers. You might see things that make you want to come and fish it in a different way. For example, you know, you might see carp moving about and come and try for carp on a section of canal, so on and so forth. And that's same on the river. You know, you might find chub, you might see barbel shoals, you know, you might see areas that you fancy fishing on a feeder. So there's other benefits to it. And folks, you're out and about, getting some fresh air, get some exercise in. So do I recommend it? Yeah, definitely. Is it hard? Yeah, it is. Unless you know the canals and the little spots where the fish congregate, or unless you've got some healthy stretches near you, then yeah, it is difficult. Very, very difficult. You know, and a lot of these lure fishing YouTubers, they make it look easy because they've already found all those spots, so they can pretty much throw any lure in and expect to get a couple of fish on the bank, because they've put the time in, they've put the work in, and they've found out where the fish are, and that's half the battle. Right, this looks like a little bit of a decent spot. Let's have a go here. You see, I've previously done well in areas like this where the canal kind of narrows, but I also know that there's a bit of an overflow just further ahead, which is what I'm heading to. And then I'm going to start working my way back. But once I get to that overflow, I'm going to try a couple of different types of lures, a couple of different types of setups. So I'm going to put the cheb weight back on, and we'll see if that makes any difference. But yeah, I think the thing that would have helped me today is a slightly longer rod, and knowing where all the fish are. On a lot of canals you can expect to be catching smaller perch pretty consistently. On these micro lures, this beautiful little spot is my destination. Just here and then just above here as well. And we'll cycle between a few different things. But this is the kind of environment that perch love. They love well oxygenated water like this. So I'm going to spend some time here, and if I don't have anything here, then I'm just going to call it a day and have a walk back. Sorry about the noise of the overflow, folks. Let's put a white one on. Let's try a little bit further away from the flow. I've cycled through a couple of different things, and nothing seems to be working. The last thing I'm going to try on the way back is using a slightly bigger lure and a slightly heavier jig head. I'm going to go for something like a 3 gram, and probably one of these Harmony Baits T-Fat lures. So let's give those a go. Last little roll of the dice, and then I don't think I'm gonna bother with this canal again. If I was just fishing for myself, I'd probably keep going. I'm stubborn like that. I would keep going until I caught something. But because I'm filming for YouTube, one, if I don't catch anything, it's a bit of a wasted video, and it is so boring to watch, and it's boring to edit as well, folks. I've tried that little weir again. Absolutely no luck, no joy. I don't know whether it's because of all the rain that we had or whether it's just this stretch. I've got out, I've tried it, had a bit of fun on the little lures. It's good practicing with those because I've never used any jig heads that small or that light, and it felt quite unusual because obviously you can't feel them on the bottom or anything like that, so it's actually really hard to work them. So yeah, that's a bit of a learning curve. And we've had a good walk. I'll put the stats for today's little outing up in the left hand corner now for you, so you can see how long I've been fishing and how far I've traveled as well. But I just want to say I'm sorry I blanked, but that's fishing at the end of the day. I've got to get out, I've got to try these things, and I obviously post my blanking videos because it's important for the youngsters out there getting into lure fishing to know that you can't catch every time you go out. Yes, you get a lot of people commenting saying, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that, you should do this. That's the worst thing to me. Like, if somebody says you should do this in the comments, it just proper gets my back up. I know it shouldn't bother me, but yeah, that's one of the worst things on YouTube, the you should comments. You should fish here, you should do this. Well, I'm back out on the micro lures, and I'm doing something that I don't normally do in my videos, and that's joining two sessions together. And there's a reason for that, and that's to see whether lure fishing is all about the spots that you fish in, or whether it's actually to do with skill and equipment. So Mike's going to be joining me today. He's joined me on a couple of sessions on the channel before, and he's a very accomplished lure angler, so he knows what he's doing and he knows some great spots as well. So we're going to see, is it the setup and angling skill, or is it knowing the spots? Let's get into the video. Let's see if we manage to catch anything. I'm going to set the route going on the Chorus Nomad, and I'll put it up at the end of the video so you can see how far I've walked and some of the spots that I've fished. So let's get into it. So the equipment is the exact same as I was using in the last video. I'm starting off on a 2 gram Cheb weight and these little AliExpress micro lures. I'm using my Savage Gear SG2 micro game, 6 foot, 1 to 3.5 gram. So I'm going to try and keep everything the same as the last video. Same setup. I'm going to work the lures in the same kind of way. The only thing that's different is the location. I'm on a different canal today. Still local to me, but Mike says a little bit more productive than the one that I was fishing the other day. So let's see. We're moving past the marina because the marina's private. You're not meant to fish it, so, but everything else is fair game. I really hope that it's not skill related, folks, and that it is genuinely the spots. I'm sure we'll manage something. We'll see. Here he is, the man. How you doing, pal? Yeah. I mean, I've got my polarized glasses on. I can see right out towards the middle there, and there's no fish moving about. There's no silvers or perch or jackpike.
We're going to target a couple of spots up here, and then we've got a couple of spots on the other side of that. Like, there aren't too many.
So I'm just watching Mike's retrieve action here. Is this what you would normally do for ultralight? Just
to begin with, yeah.
Flicking it back
I
gently.
usually stick it on the bottom.
Oh my god, that's a good perch as well. Straight, literally first cast, folks. I can't even.
No, that's not cursed to the first
cast. I can't even.
Chuck your net, man. It's attached to the bag.
Yeah. Folks, you can't write it, can you? This is what happens when you go with somebody that knows what they're doing. I always recommend that if you know anybody that knows what they're doing. Yourself out there with them. Look at that, first cast. Little gentle twitch back. That's a nice canal perch, that, folks. Yeah, of course. So that is literally, what's the size of that hook? It's
I'll show
tiny.
you in a second. It's knocked the cheb off, but there you go.
Oh, it does knock the cheb off, yeah. It's up your line there.
There you go. There's
That is a nice one. Let's get a good picture of that, Mike, I reckon. Oh, it's gone. That's it off. Yeah, let's have a look at the rig, Mike. Very, very small hook. Probably slightly smaller than the one I'm using.
That's a size 12 hook.
What kind of hooks are they? Just a normal coarse
It's
hook?
actually a little trout hook. If you notice, it's got the sickle style on it.
And then just a 0.75 gram.
Yeah, and a little floating worm style lure. You can pick these up later.
And what about your rod?
Oh, look, this is my tickle stick. That's a Coying Teton. 0.3 to 3 gram.
Yeah.
And then that's a little 1000 size Shimano Banford.
It's pretty much the same setup as mine. I've just got a very, very slightly bigger hook, and I mean very slightly. That's probably more like a size 10 feeder hook, and I've got a 2 gram cheb weight. But it shows you, folks, you can catch slightly better fish. It's not just like micro species. That was a nice one that Mike just had then.
They're going to get tough downside. You do the same yourself, don't you, when you're carp fishing and stuff like that. Sometimes you just go onto a smaller hook bait and
I might need to swap to a lighter cheb weight.
Yeah, go 1 gram.
Maybe it is skill, folks. Look at that, he's in again.
Really tiny.
Amazing, mate.
That other fish
Fair play to you.
One, couldn't it?
Yeah, fair play to you. Right, I'll scale down then, eh? The good thing about those cheb weights, especially the smaller ones, is you can use coarse hooks with them easily. The cheb inserts on them, they've got a really fine wire gauge, haven't they? Yeah. Just putting on a 1 gram cheb weight rather than the 2. Right, folks, 1 gram cheb weight is on. Let's put another lure on. Catch up with Mike.
Perch in the netting is many can.
What do these feel like, these small perch bites?
Look.
Is that all it is?
Hook and then a wriggle. They're usually going to hook themselves at that kind of size. At least it's coming out.
Just my luck. Oh, it's so slimy. What it's like? Yeah, I'm down to 1 gram, yeah.
No, it's floating.
Ah, I see.
So when this hits the deck, it will sit upright like that.
Right. Even with the 1 gram?
Yeah.
And is that what you're using?
Yeah, I'm just using a slightly smaller one on a slightly smaller hook. That's the perfect colour in my opinion.
For today?
Yeah.
I mean, you get a bit of the flash of the silver and the jig head anyway.
Exactly.
So, plan is, folks, we're going to keep moving. We're going to fish at a couple of locks. But so far, it is looking like it was probably a skill issue rather than rather than a tackle issue or location issue. But we'll see. I need to take Mike down to the Rochdale Canal and see if he manages anything on that. Then we'll really know. Right, I'm going to have a couple of casts here. Also, folks, I just want to say Mike's had some really good sessions on the canal. You've just got to catch the conditions right. The conditions today, the canal is ultra gin clear, and that's always tough going. Obviously that's why we've been using natural colours to give us our best chance, but that's another thing to consider. Very clear. Could just do with a little bit more colour in it. Try and get this lure past these bikes that are down here. The beauties of fishing on a canal, folks, in the UK. Nice little oxygenated spot, but turbulent.
Oh, there's that fish in there. Look.
We have fish here. Well folks, another unproductive session for Westy. It's a good job Mike has managed a couple of fish. I don't think that is a definitive conclusion to whether it's a skill issue or a location issue, but the fact that he's managed a couple of fish and I haven't, we're fishing very, very similar setups, although Mike is using a slightly smaller hook, so that could have been the reason for his success today. We've been moving for about an hour and 40 minutes. Been nice to get out with Mike for a couple of hours. A couple of hours session is really all you need on the canal, isn't it, Mike? You don't really need to be spending all day walking up and down.
Who would want to spend all day walking down the Manchester Canal?
No, it's mentally draining. It's mentally and emotionally draining walking down Manchester canals. They are grim, folks. We don't have beautiful southern canals and rivers up this way. They're all polluted. They're all absolutely full of literal shopping trolleys. There's one down there. But yeah, in a grim state of affairs. But you've got to be in it to win it, and it shows that there are fish in here. So I just want to say thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next Westies Angling. I'll put the stats for today's session in the corner so you can have a nosy. I'll see you next time, folks.